Welcome back to Dad and Daughter Reads, a book club podcast. I'm James, your co-host, and this is episode 26. We're nearing the end of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. And this week we're covering part 4 of 5, which includes pages 331 through 434. And of course, I'm joined by my co-host Miranda, who's here to catch us up on her week and what else she's been reading. Miranda?
Hello. Well, I'll just say it. I haven't been reading anything else.
You're not the only one.
I haven't been reading anything else. It's been bad this year. I've just been hanging out with my friends too much. Because I'm moving in a month. So I'm hanging out with my friends.
Right.
But I did read this section of our book, so still reading. Still counts. But other than that, yeah, I've just been like hanging out with friends. I've been to the beach twice in the past week. That's really it. I watched Happy Gilmore 2. Did you watch Happy Gilmore 2?
I have not watched it yet.
It's pretty good. It was funny.
Oh, really? I heard it was bad.
Really? Well, I mean, it's an Adam Sandler stupid movie.
Right. Yeah.
But for an Adam Sandler stupid movie, it was good.
Okay. Well, you know, I enjoy the original Adam Sandler trilogy very much, which is Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and The Waterboy. So they're all goofy as hell. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was just goofy. It was silly. I mean, he's like older now and a dad, so I guess things are a little more wholesome maybe. And his daughters are both in the movie too.
Oh, his real life daughters.
Yeah, and his wife. He loves nepotism. Because then his younger daughter like plays his daughter in the movie. But it was, wow. I mean, yeah, it was super silly. It was an Adam Sandler movie. It was like goofy and stuff. But I thought it was good.
All right, well, I will have to watch it.
Give it a try. I feel like it was just like good old Adam Sandler, you know?
Yeah.
There he goes again. There he goes again. Yeah, no, that's about it. I'm trying to think. Like, what have I guess I went out. No, I didn't go out Friday night. We went to the beach on Saturday. So I was at the beach all day Saturday. And then I went to like a day party Sunday. And then I was at the beach yesterday, Monday. Just enjoying my last month here.
Right. Okay.
How's your week?
Same old, boring. I didn't read anything else either. Although my reading will start picking up. Tomorrow is Ava's first day of school. It's only a 2-hour day tomorrow. So weird here. Like on a Wednesday, they go for 2 hours. Then they don't go to school Thursday. And then they go full day Friday. And then from there, it's just normal. Monday
I feel like that's how it is here too, I feel like.
That's just, that seems so weird. Just start on a fucking Monday.
Sure. It is weird. I think it's
weird. You want to do a 2-hour day, then do that on the Friday, then start on Monday.
I think it's weirder that they're starting this early in August.
Yeah, that is weird too. We start pretty early here. So my reading should pick up once she's back in school. Let's see, what else did I did watch a movie. I watched, finally got around to watching Captain America Brave New World, Marvel movie. Anthony Mackie and Harrison Ford were really good in it, but the movie itself was garbage. The writing was just bad, and the pace of the movie was not good. So
yeah, I remember now. I watched Sinners last week, which was a great movie.
Oh yeah,
a vampire movie. It was really good. They really utilized the trope of having to be invited in that movie.
Oh really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was a good movie. It was super good. Highly recommend that movie. And then I saw Superman.
Oh, yeah. I was supposed to go see that, and I didn't.
Yeah, I saw it.
Although we could talk about it.
Although, honestly, like the first hour of the movie, I was pretty distracted because I had ordered popcorn. So this is like a movie theater. It's called Alamo Drafthouse. So you can like go in, and you like sit down, and then they like have like servers come. And so you like order food from servers and stuff, and they have like a whole menu. It's like a whole thing, which like in theory is cool. But I ordered popcorn and then it didn't come for like an hour. Yeah, and part of the reason why in fact, I would say 90% of the reason why I go see movies in the movie theater is for the popcorn.
To eat popcorn, yes.
So, because it's like it's my favorite snack. So I was pretty distracted the first hour of the movie because I didn't have my popcorn.
Yeah, no, I gotta have popcorn as soon as I go in because I need to start eating it during and before the trailers.
Right. Yeah, I just like immediately go in on it. And I didn't get to do that. So I was very upset for like the first hour of the movie because I didn't have my popcorn. And I kept trying to like push the button to get them to come and they wouldn't come. And they had to come by to like, I don't know. They like eventually came by and I was like, hello, can I have my popcorn? And it sucks because it's like in the middle of the movie too.
Right.
So I'm like, it was annoying.
Yeah. I would not like
But
that.
other than that, I enjoyed it. I mean, I'm not like a huge superhero movie person.
Right.
But I didn't like hate it. I wasn't like, oh, I wasted my time.
Right.
It was good. I'm excited about Supergirl. They're making like a Supergirl movie that comes out next year, and I like the actress who's playing Supergirl. And she had like a little teeny tiny little something at the very end of the movie, and I was like, okay, that looks like it'll be fun.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw movies. I saw movies last week. I watched a lot of movies last week, I guess.
Let's see. What else did I do? That's about it. I bought a new board game. I haven't played it yet though. Called Critter Kitchen. So I don't know if you've ever played Overcooked, the video game, where you get like these. You basically are running a kitchen, and you're like all these little different kind of animals, and you have to put together all the dishes and send them out and all that. You have to chop the stuff and put it on the plate. So it's kind of like a board game based off that. Ava and Mia play that game a lot, so I thought I'd get that and we'd play it. So that's about it for me. I guess we can go ahead and get into the book. And first, we will start with the recap that you remember to do this time. Joking.
Dad was worried because he didn't write recap in the outline, and he thought that I would forget my job because he didn't write recap to remind me because of my dumb girl brain, I guess.
That is not why. I don't think girls don't remember stuff. Hell, I don't remember half of everything. I can't remember what I did yesterday barely. So yes, let us get into the recap that we talked about last week.
All right. So, in the last chapters, Alice is on a mission to find other vampires, locate Lottie, and get some answers. After some internet research, she goes to a few clubs and is finally led to a coffee shop where she meets Ezra, a vampire. He knows Lottie, and after talking with the psychic, they know where to find her. When they get to her, she reveals that it is Sabine behind Alice turning into a vampire. What does she mean by that? We have no idea yet. In Venice, in the early 1700s, Sabine has become quite close with Matteo and Alessandro and explores some freedoms. Alessandro dies from being a human, and Matteo goes into a long bout of grief, which causes him to make an irrational decision, turning a new lover into a vampire. This new vampire is a bit uncontrollable and is killed by a mob. Alessandro decides to leave to America. Sabine can't stand the thought of being on a boat for so long, and they part ways. She travels through Europe and starts to long for some companionship and stability. So she ends up in London during the height of the debutante season and creates a little life for herself there for 4 years till she decides to pursue one of the debutantes. She finds one she likes and plans to make her move. In these chapters, we also got Charlotte, aka Lottie's point of view. Charlotte is another free-spirited lesbian. Her brother catches her kissing her friend Jocelyn, and she is sent to live with her aunt in London for the high season. She is not happy to trade the freedom she had at her family's estate in Clement Hall for the uptight, stuffy culture in London. However, at a ball, she is approached by Sabine, who has established quite the high-class name for herself. They chat until a young man asks Charlotte to dance, and that's where we left off, in the middle of Charlotte's section. And I was very upset about it last week. Although I will say that this section of the book kind of left me wanting a little bit more. It kind of dragged a little bit for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was like one chapter that I really liked, but as a whole, I felt a little like draggy, which we get to, but like when Alice like stops her in the middle, I'm like, yeah, I feel that, Alice.
Oh, okay, that stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so the narrative here is kind of like these Charlotte parts are Charlotte telling Alice what happened to her.
Right.
which we didn't really get into that. We don't get into that until after this first Charlotte section, really. But yeah, we did stop after 4 chapters in the Charlotte section. So now we're moving on to chapter 5, Charlotte's last day in Clement Hall before she was sent off to London. She had wrote to Jocelyn, who did not write back or did not come to say goodbye either. Her mother described Charlotte as someone who is expressive in her emotions, saying she wears her heart as a second skin. Just weird. I've always heard it as your heart on your sleeve, but okay.
Well, maybe that changed and adapted over time.
Maybe that's what they said back then.
Right.
In the early 1800s. All right, chapter 6, Charlotte recounts to her aunt and one of her wards her time with Sabine at the ball. Aunt Amelia approves, noting that Sabine is a valuable acquaintance. During a second ball, Charlotte and Sabine converse again. When Charlotte asks Sabine to call her Lottie, Sabine politely refuses, saying she prefers Charlotte for its flavor. Moving on to chapter 7, Charlotte goes to a third ball. This time, Sabine takes her into the parlor and teaches her how to dance. So a young man came up to Charlotte before this and asked her to dance. His name is George Preston, which we'll see some more of here shortly. And apparently Sabine did not like the way she was dancing. So she took her into that parlor, was showing her some dance moves. And this whole thing is just Sabine playing the timeless art of seduction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's why I was getting a little all right.
I mean, so we got 78-year-old presidents sleeping with 14-year-old girls, and nobody bats an eye when a 200 and something year old vampire goes after a 19-year-old girl.
Well, that's like a whole thing in Twilight too, is that Edward's like 108 years old.
Right.
And Bella's like 17. So yeah, it is kind of weird.
Right.
But what else are they supposed to do?
It is definitely weird.
It's like at this point, it doesn't like, I guess technically Sabine's not immortal, right? But at this point, it's just kind of like time means nothing.
Right.
Because.
Yeah, when you can live for centuries.
Right. So, and not age. So,
Right.
There you go.
All right, chapter 8. Across numerous balls, Charlotte grows increasingly captivated by Sabine, while Sabine deliberately maintains her pursuit of the hunt. The suspense is terrible. I hope it'll last.
Is that a reference to something?
It's a quote from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh. Okay. Gene Wilder.
It's very suspenseful here.
Is it?
She's pursuing her. I thought so.
See, I was just like, I already know what's going to happen. Let's get to it.
Well, yeah, we already know, but this is the whole build up to it. I thought it was suspenseful. The way Sabine was doing it. So, chapter 9, Jocelyn writes to Charlotte announcing her engagement to Charlotte's brother James. At the ball that night, Sabine immediately senses Charlotte's distress. She leads Charlotte to a back room where they play cards and drink sherry. Well, Charlotte drinks sherry anyway. Before departing, Sabine tells Charlotte to visit her when she knows what she truly wants.
So I was saying this is Sabine really playing into the whole Sabine character of it all. The vampire that turned her and she took her personality. Like it was really giving. She was really playing those cards, right?
Right, because that was basically what the original Sabine said to her.
Yeah, like let me know when you want to.
It's pretty much going the same route here. And Charlotte wants the same thing that Maria wanted, which was to be free.
Right.
And not have to be stuck into society's norms.
Right. Except I think a key difference here is that Charlotte here is not as sadistic maybe as Sabine might be.
Right. Yeah, we'll get to that, I think, later here.
So the whole thing happens, even with Sabine turning Maria into a vampire happened so quick. I feel like this also happens pretty quick and like without real consent. I feel like both times has just been like, oh, you want freedom, and then don't actually give any detail of what that means.
Right.
Which is which is interesting. And I don't, yeah, like you'd think that Sabine would have learned better, know better than that, but she's psycho.
Yep. I think Sabine had problems from the get-go. Well,
Oh,
before she was turned into a vampire. So.
yeah, absolutely. I would agree with that for sure.
All right, chapter 10. So George Preston comes to where Charlotte is living with her aunt and proposes to her out of the blue, because really Charlotte was not presented at these balls as someone who can be proposed to. That was supposed to be next year. Charlotte panics and runs to Sabine. She tells Sabine that she wants her, not the future others expect of her. Sabine brings her upstairs and turns her into a vampire, giving Charlotte the escape she longs for.
Or so she thinks.
Yeah. Chapter 11, Charlotte wakes from her transformation and searches the house for Sabine. When Sabine finally appears, she brings George Preston with her. Through careful manipulation, Sabine coaxes Charlotte into feeding on him. Afterward, the two women leave town together, leaving Charlotte's old life behind.
That was so awful. And then I knew right then and there, this is about to be a very toxic lesbian relationship. Yes. This is about to be incredibly toxic.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious that Sabine is the one in control here, and she is manipulating Charlotte into doing what she wants her to do.
It makes me wonder what the original Sabine might have done and how the original Sabine would have acted, because I don't think that she would have been as controlling as that or manipulative as that. But it is such an interest. But it is turning your lover into a vampire. That does feel. And even when we go back to who was it? Hector and Renata, right?
Yeah, Hector and Renata.
Yeah, and Hector being she'll always be mine or whatever because I turned her.
Right.
So it does feel very controlling and toxic and a weird situation you get yourself into when you're turned into a vampire by someone like that.
All right, chapter 12. During the carriage ride, Charlotte questions everything in her mind. Sabine senses this and remarks that Charlotte has a loud mind. Sabine then kills the carriage driver, burning both the wagon and the body. She explains to Charlotte that vampires can only die by having their hearts destroyed, that sunlight makes them ill, that grave dirt pulls them downward, and that fire is the most terrible way to die. Chapter 13. We are now in Margate, England, 1 week later. They go into town, follow a man home from the pub. Sabine asks the man to invite them in, which he does. Charlotte begins feeding on him, but when he pleads please, she releases him and he flees. Sabine pursues him, returning later with 3 hearts, his and those of the 2 men he had told about the encounter. Charlotte struggles with her new nature, questioning whether killing is wrong. Sabine takes her upstairs where they become intimate. The next day, Charlotte writes to her family, apologizing for running away, explaining that she wanted a different life, and she now appears content with her new beginning. So this is where Charlotte, she's questioning whether killing is wrong, and you can see the difference between her and Sabine here, where I think Charlotte has still some conscience, where
some morality.
Sabine, some morality, and I think Sabine really never had any at all, even before she didn't have much before she was a vampire, to be honest.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure. Which later on I did write something like that. We'll have to get through Alice first. But yeah, definitely Charlotte is much more emotional and empathetic than Sabine / Maria ever was.
Yeah.
But now she's kind of gotten herself stuck in this situation and has to accept it. Not that it's weird because it's she seems to be okay, going along with it and a little bit excited for it, but I feel like she's just really being super manipulated by Sabine here. And then at that point, it's what choice do you have? I've just been turned into a vampire. Nobody asked me if I wanted to get turned into a vampire. That's my whole thing with this. Nobody's asked. No one's hey, I'm a vampire. Do you want to be one too? No one's asking for consent here to be a vampire.
I don't think it goes over well that way. I mean, I think vampires are known to be seductive and things like that. So, and manipulative. And that's just the way they do it, because I think the first vampire was probably hey, I'm a vampire. Do you want to be one too? And it probably didn't go well. So then he's like, okay, well, I gotta change my tactics here.
Sure. Maybe that's how it went.
Yeah.
Maybe that's exactly how it went.
It's just saying.
It's also just crazy to me, though, that they're just like, they just accept it. It's kind of crazy to me that Charlotte just accepts it. Sabine made sense because Maria/Sabine made sense because she's crazy.
Right.
But Charlotte, I thought that Charlotte would have more of a, I thought she would have more of a back and forth. I feel like she didn't have enough of a back and forth for me.
Well, that's another problem with that, hey, I'm a vampire. Do you want to be one too? Then you got to answer all the questions up in front. You got to answer all these stupid questions up front. Like, okay, what does that mean? Can I go out in the light? Can I do this? And then you're just like, fuck it. I don't even.
Right. Well, and then it's like, well, what kind of freedom do you actually have? And then, or like, what's the caveats to that freedom? It's kind of giving too when Maria like was excited to get married to the Viscount. And then when she got involved and like when she was his wife, she was like, wait a second, this is not what I thought I was signing up for. No, you don't know.
Yeah, I said yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Sorry.
Yeah, so it's kind of giving that with Charlotte. I feel like she's like, oh, wait a minute, like I didn't know that I was gonna have to do all this and that this bitch was crazy. Another thing, you've only known this girl for 4 days. Now you're tethered to her for a millennia.
Right.
I would run away.
But she didn't get that choice, because it wasn't up front, It was just, all right, here we go. I'm going to bite you, whether you like it or not.
Right.
All right. That was the last chapter of that Charlotte section. And we're moving on into an Alice section, which is only one chapter and it's pretty short. Charlotte is telling her story to Alice and Ezra as if it will explain everything. And that's pretty much all that chapter was about.
Well, yeah, well, because Alice is getting frustrated. She's like, I don't care about this love story. Tell me what the fuck is going on with me.
Right.
And I have to agree with Alice on that.
Well, apparently Charlotte feels that you need to know the whole entire backstory.
I think
really
Charlotte is just really happy and excited to be telling somebody this epic love story that she endured. She's happy to have an audience.
Yeah,
because maybe. I think we really could just skip to the part. Listen, I understand from a book perspective. I'm like, yes, we want to know this. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying if I was Alice in this story, if this was real life and I had been turned into a vampire, and then I go to the girl who turned me into a vampire, and she goes on this long-winded story about her ex-lover, I'd be like, hello? You can tell me that later. Like, let's get to the point, and then we'll backtrack. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true. But we must hear Charlotte's tale, and we move on into another Charlotte section. Chapter 1, Charlotte and Sabine travel across Europe, with Sabine teaching Charlotte everything she has learned, at least most of everything. Though Charlotte is intensely curious, Sabine reveals a little about her personal history. Sabine displays possessiveness toward Charlotte, especially when Charlotte asks if there are more vampires. And Sabine responds, am I not enough? Charlotte continues to feel guilty when feeding and has established rules for herself, only preying on men, particularly bad, quote unquote, ones, similar to Dexter's Code here again, kind of like what Alice said. As time passes, however, the killing becomes easier and Charlotte grows to enjoy the power she wields over these men.
Yeah, Charlotte is really trying to choose morality over taste, because Sabine makes a comment. She's like, I don't know how you eat those men. Like, they're disgusting. Like, women taste so much better. Charlotte's like, well, because I want to, I want to be mean to men. I want justice over men. And she's getting a lot of pleasure. She starts to get a lot of pleasure in having that justice and then, having power over men, which I think is really powerful and says a lot more about her character too than Sabine, who's quite literally just kind of all in it for the pleasure and the seduction of it all. And she doesn't really care whose blood who the person is. She's just, it tastes good, so I'm going to do it. And there's no moral ground over that.
All right, Chapter 2, Hampshire, England, 1879. So we've moved on several years here, like 50 plus years. Sabine brings Charlotte to a house a mile from Clement Hall, which was Charlotte's home when she grew up. They kill the occupants, but during the attack, Sabine transforms into someone unrecognizable while murdering the teenage child. She seems to relish the child's suffering, horrifying Charlotte. Charlotte flees to Clement Hall, where she discovers an elderly Jocelyn sitting alone in the darkness. As Charlotte approaches, Jocelyn asks, "Come to haunt me again?" When Jocelyn's grandson arrives to escort her inside, Charlotte conceals herself. She remains hidden until dawn before returning to the stolen house. There, Sabine apologizes, claiming she wasn't herself and doesn't understand what happened or why. Sabine asks Charlotte to promise never to hurt her, which Charlotte does.
Right, and not knowing exactly what she's doing with that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things when I said she was teaching her everything except a few things. She didn't tell her about that.
Right. Because Sabine is very controlling and manipulative, and she's like really isolating Charlotte here in the last chapter, even like, you know, am I not enough with the other vampires? Which is so sad. I feel really sad for Charlotte. And then I also felt sad for Charlotte in this chapter too, because, you know, seeing Jocelyn, and then that's such a sad little moment, you know, like her having to live this life and like feel regret and didn't get to have the life she wanted because of the society she lived in and the rules. And then you have Charlotte, who did run away from it, but is now kind of in her own fucked up situation because of it. Like nobody really won here. And then you've got Sabine, who's going even more crazier, going even more crazy, getting even more psychotic as the days go on.
Right. And this goes back to, Mateo, I think, told her that as time goes on, they lose parts of their lives. And this is what that is, which we'll also get into a little later as well.
Well, and I think it's easier for Sabine to fall into that because Sabine already was not of sound mind. Because, I mean, Mateo was like, we don't know exactly how much older than her, but a lot older than her. And he was fine, you know? So Sabine seems to be falling into it faster because she doesn't have a lot of morality. She doesn't care.
Right. She didn't have any morality to begin with.
Yeah.
Much anyway. It's kind of like, so you've heard of roid rage, right?
Roid rage?
Yeah. People say if you take steroids, like if you take a lot of steroids, it makes you mean, nasty, whatever. But it's really just taking what's already there and amplifying it.
Right.
So if you're not like that to begin with, it's not going to affect you as much. But since she started out being already less moral than some of these other people, it's affecting her more, and it's just making her seem more and more crazy.
Yeah, it's like actually like melding with the monster that was already within her.
All right, chapter 3, Paris, France, 1914. The world is at war. The caring Charlotte asks if there is something they could do. Sabine laughs and mocks her, but eventually goes to her because while the pain of the world does not hurt her, Charlotte's does.
Yeah, and she does say something interesting there too. She's like, who do you think's killed more, Englishmen, you or German men? You know what I mean? Yeah. Or like, how many more Englishmen do you think you've killed over German men or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Right. Because when Charlotte says she wanted to do something to help the Allied side, she's like, how many more Englishmen have you killed than the Germans, I wonder, or something like that. Right. She's mocking her, basically. Yeah.
And then this idea, I think they talk about it later on, maybe not in this chapter, but of like choosing who gets to live and who gets to die and playing God in that way and having to grapple with that too. Be like, who are you to decide who deserves to die? So why not? And I think Sabine's case is just like, so just let them all, just let them all die. Who cares?
Right.
Who am I to decide? Just whoever I get my teeth into, that's who dies. Which, I don't necessarily when you actually do really think about it, I don't necessarily totally disagree with that, but that is coming from a very animalistic way of thinking.
It's the old saying, kill them all, let God sort them out.
Right.
All right, chapter 4, 1918, the war is over, and Charlotte feels relief. Sabine has been wandering off at night and hunting alone, but whenever she does, she always returns with a gift.
Which I'm assuming she's taking from the people she kills.
Yeah, because she always took baubles from people anyway and kept them for herself. Yeah.
Like a true serial killer.
Exactly. Sabine/Maria probably would have been a serial killer had she not been turned into a vampire eventually. Chapter 5, London, 1927. So we're shooting ahead 10 years here. Charlotte and Sabine are celebrating 100 years together. Sabine gives Charlotte a cufflink that she had kept from George Preston.
That was
Which
awful.
Charlotte, yeah,
That was
Charlotte
awful.
does not want that at all.
She's like horrified by it, but she's so stuck in this like relationship with Sabine. She's terrified to say anything else about it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, she's like really trapped in this really toxic, abusive relationship.
So they go out on the town and end up meeting two other vampires, Jack and Antonia. Jack and Antonia invite them to go out to a club. Sabine lets Charlotte decide, and Charlotte decides to go with them to the club.
And she's very excited about it.
Yes. Jack is from England. Antonia is from the U.S. They have been together for over 70 years. Once Charlotte and Sabine return to their room, Sabine is cold and asks Charlotte, "Am I not enough?" So she asks her this again, because the whole thing of letting Charlotte decide whether they go or not was kind of a trap by Sabine to see how Charlotte would decide. And she was very excited to go with them. So, that was wrong, according to Sabine. Should have just stayed with her and went home.
Right. Yeah, just, textbook abusive relationship. I like this chapter. I thought this chapter was really fun. It was cool for them to be like driving through London, and they go to this bar, and it's the first time that Charlotte has like blood from like not killing someone, right? Like they have the blood like on tap. And she was like, I could be doing this the whole time. Versus Sabine is like, I don't want that. And I think they like take her somewhere to kill.
Yep.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. They like have also people on tap, I guess, to drink from. So, but it was cool to have Charlotte be like, oh, I didn't know that this could be a thing. And then them like telling her stories and all that stuff. And I thought it was just like a really fun, it felt like very speakeasy kind of night on the town, 1920s flapper. Like I was envisioning a very like Great Gatsby moment with them. And then Sabine being all like cold. But then Sabine does do something interesting, because eventually she does like become in a better mood. I guess it's after she feeds probably. So she's
it was
off of that. But she becomes in a better mood and like seems to be like enjoying herself, and then like completely switches once they get back. So I thought that was a really cool. I liked that chapter a lot. It was fun. And I liked those characters.
All right. Chapter 6, 1943. Now we are in the middle of World War II. While out, Sabine wanders off alone. When Charlotte returns to their flat, she finds Sabine covered in blood, having slaughtered people while in her altered state. So she goes back into that weird state where she doesn't really know who she is. Yeah. Yeah. Charlotte gently cleans Sabine and puts her to bed. Later, Charlotte retrieves a knife and kneels over Sabine, intending to kill her, but finds herself unable to follow through because of the promise she made 50 years earlier to never hurt Sabine. As Sabine awakens, Charlotte flees.
Before that, when she left the club with Jackie and Antonio, she said, or they told her that they could come back anytime. They were always welcome. And that, I guess, maybe even her specifically, because I think they knew something was up there.
Right. They told them that in 1927, but now it's 1943. So they obviously never went back.
Yeah, they never went back, but
Charlotte flees to the club, chapter 7. The club is named A Way Down, I believe, and it's actually owned by Jack and Antonia. The couple takes her in, providing care and securing her a train ticket north. Before she departs, Jack hands Charlotte a piece of paper with Boston and Ezra written on it in case she ever travels to America.
I don't know if it was in this chapter or the chapter before where she's like talking to Jack about the guy who turned him or who turned Antonia, I guess, because he didn't turn Antonia. This other one did, and he knew him. And he made him promise to kill him if he ever changed.
Yeah, it was this chapter, yeah.
It was this last one? Yeah, I think so, because she tells them, that's when she tells them, like, what happened. And then he, like, confirms that she's losing parts of herself. And that the guy who turned Antonia, the vampire that did, like, instead of being like, promise to never hurt me, said, promise that you'll kill me before I get that bad.
Right.
And then that also leaves Charlotte wondering, like, when is she going to get that bad? You know, like if that'll ever happen to her. I think that's another little interesting layer there.
And that is the end of that Charlotte section. Moving on to another Alice section, which is also only one chapter. Chapter 1, Lottie stops telling her story. Alice, still angry, tries to attack Lottie, but Ezra restrains her. Alice runs outside. Ezra follows and tells her that Lottie is right. She can have a life. It may be a different life, but it is still a life. Ezra asks Alice to let Lottie finish her story, suggesting it might help Alice move forward.
Alice also makes like an interesting comment here because she kind of was saying what we were trying to talk last night about, because there's still this whole thing. It's like, how is Sabine involved in you turning me into a vampire, right? And so she's like, what, just because Sabine made you that way, it means it's all her fault and that you just bit me because, like I was in this abusive relationship and this girl turned me, so now I'm turning other people.
Yeah, we still have questions on whether if it's that way or is Sabine following her around. We still don't know for sure, the way Lottie kind of says.
Yeah, but I don't.
No, you don't understand. It's not me. Kind of, right. She says that.
And I don't. And I really, truly think that like Sabine's still like following her, has something to do with this.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm still going with the schizophrenia.
Okay.
You know, that's something I wanted to bring up too. You got onto me because I'm saying Lottie might be crazy and have schizophrenia, but you've been calling Maria crazy this whole friggin' book.
Well, that's because Maria is crazy.
That's not right. That's not right. That's not right.
But I'm not assuming Maria's crazy. Maria is crazy. It's not an assumption.
I'm not assuming she's crazy. Story. It's one of my many theories. I have more than one theory.
Right. Well, it's not a theory that Maria's crazy. It's fact.
Okay.
Like, I didn't jump to that conclusion out of nowhere.
Well, I pulled out my jump to conclusions mat and jumped on
it. I'm giving what the there's no subtext to her being psycho. She is psycho. It's very clearly in the text. Yes,
it is. I'm just trying to find the craziest theory in case it's right. Then it just makes me look really good.
Right. No, I think right. I think Sabine is like following her around or has like cursed her, because we also have like
probably
other.
What it is. That's what I'm thinking. That's my that's my one. I really think it is Sabine is following her around and doing it.
I just wonder how she's doing it. Like, I wonder if she's so far, because we've already. I mean, we've skipped a lot of more years ahead. So I wonder how crazy Sabine went, and what is like the next step. What is the next like? Is she still like of it, like an actual person vampire, like following around, or is she like this weird demented kind of like spirit? You know,
right?
Like, well, I wonder what she's transformed into at this point.
So the next part, next week, there's a Charlotte section next, which is 10 chapters. So we're gonna get more backstory on that. But then there's an Alice section.
Getting good, so
yeah. But then there's an Alice section, which is where the book ends, and it's 8 chapters. I'll have to see what happens.
We will see how the story ends next week, because that's it for this week's episode of Dad and Daughter Reads, a book club podcast. Thanks for hanging out with us as we made our way through part 4 of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. Next week is the finale, where we'll wrap up the last section of the book, so be sure to read through to the end and join us for the full breakdown. After that, we'll be taking a 2-week break, but don't worry, we'll be back on September 6th with our next read, Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. Definitely one you won't want to miss, one of our favorite authors personally. In the meantime, come chat with us on Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok, or over in our Discord. All the links are in the show notes. Thanks for listening, and happy reading!
Our intro music is Upbeat Funk, performed by Mikhail Smusev, and our outro music is Lo-Fi Chill, medium version, performed by Bodan Kuzmin. You can find both tracks on pixabay.com. Thanks for joining us, family, and we'll see you next week.